All right, this is a question about working with function notation. We're given two functions here, f of x and g of x, and they want us to figure out what the value of f of -2 is, f of -2 minus g of 6 is. All right, so function notation, a lot of students get freaked out by this, but it's really, I don't know. It's nothing to be afraid of. So when you have f of -2, all that's talking about is taking function f of x here and plugging in -2 for x. So you're just going to take -2 and plug it in for the x and then simplify that. And then for g of 6, sorry, you're going to take function g and you're going to plug in 6 for x. And so you plug 6 in here and simplify that. And then once you get those two functions simplified, then you're just going to subtract them. Okay, so again, you're just going to take this -2 and you're going to plug it in for x. That's what function notation does, is it shows you what the input is. And then in the other function, I'm going to take 6 and plug it in for x. And then we're going to subtract those. Okay, so that's all there is to it. So let's write down f of -2. So f of -2, I'm going to write it in function notation for you. Again, that -2 is just showing what I'm plugging in for x equals -2 times not x, but I'm going to plug in -2 for x, and then minus 3. And so let's go ahead and simplify this. So follow order of operations, PEMDAS or GEMDAS, or however you were taught it. Multiplication comes before subtraction, so I'm going to multiply these together. That gives me 4 minus 3. And so f of -2 is equal to 1. Now I'm going to do g of x. And so g of x, we want to find g of 6. So we're going to do g of 6. And that just means plug in 6 for x equals the square root of 2 times 6 minus 3. And so we want to simplify what's under the radical first, then we'll worry about the radical. So I'm going to multiply 2 times 6. And so that gives me the square root of 12 minus 3. And so that's equal to the square root of 9. And the square root of 9 is just 3. So the square root of 9 is 3. So square root saying what number times itself is equal to 9. 3 times 3. So the square root of 9 is 3. So g of 6 is equal to 3. And so now we just need to subtract these. So now it asks us to take f of -2 minus g of 6. So f of -2 is 1 minus g of 6 was 3. Subtract those and you get the answer, which is -2. All right, so become comfortable with function notation. It's really not bad. It's just instead of writing a y equals, we write this. And the point of that is it gives you extra information because it shows you what the input was. If you had a y here, then you wouldn't know what the input was when we got this answer. So function notation just gives you some extra information. All right, you're doing great. Keep it up. You're on your way to mastering the math.